A 6-week-long inquiry into the federal government's use of the Emergencies Act during the Convoy movement started today in Ottawa.
Yeah, legal teams representing the federal government, provinces, different levels of police, and the protesters themselves all laid out their arguments as to why they think the Trudeau government acted either appropriately or not back in February. When the Convoy movement took over downtown Ottawa and choked off major U.S.-Canada border crossings back in February, the Trudeau government invoked the never-before-used Emergencies Act. The move gave authorities unprecedented powers, including the ability to freeze bank accounts. Invoking the act came with the condition of holding an inquiry to determine whether the move was justified. That process started today in Ottawa.
I hope that this inquiry and the transparency we strive to provide will bolster the public's trust in our systems of accountability.
The inquiry includes legal teams from multiple groups. First up was the federal government, which stands by the decision.
They will describe the countrywide threats to the security of Canada, the illegal blockades, the disruption and intimidation experienced by Ottawa residents, the threats at our borders and ports of entry, and the real impacts on Canada's trade, international reputation, and the economic well-being of Canadians.
Representation for Ottawa police claimed their clients couldn't have prepared for the swarm of people that occupied the capital for 3 weeks.
And the largest convoy, by the time it had reached Ottawa, was 40 kilometers long and had thousands of vehicles. More convoys followed. That could not have been predicted.
Conversely, legal teams for 2 prairie provinces say the Emergencies Act was thrust upon them unjustly.
The government of Saskatchewan indicated that it did not want the emergency declaration applying within the province.
Alberta's evidence will show that the existing law enforcement tools that were already in place were completely sufficient, and they were successfully used to peacefully restore the flow of traffic at the Coutts border crossing and to disperse the protest to a legal protest site.
The protesters themselves also have a voice and will lay out why what happened was unconstitutional.
From our perspective, the government did not meet the requisite legal grounds to invoke a public order emergency.
There was no reasonable and probable grounds to invoke the Emergencies Act, and that the government exceeded their jurisdiction both constitutionally and legislatively.
While in Hamilton, the Prime Minister was asked whether he would resign if it's found that the Emergencies Act was issued unjustly.
Important thing is for Canadians to understand the situation we were in and the choices we make. We didn't enter into using the Emergencies Act lightly. We used it with a sense of it was the necessary tool at the time. We used it in a way that was measured and proportionate, and we're really pleased that the Commission is going to be able to hear from all these witnesses, and that was why I offered to appear.
Now, along with Trudeau, 7 federal ministers, police forces, and officials from all levels of government, as well as Freedom Convoy, or so-called Freedom Convoy organizers, are all expected to speak at the inquiry over the coming weeks.